Hey there guys, you're right on time for our coffee break. I'm pulling double duty today because I heard a rumor that the recent Inflation Reduction Act is offering extra tax credits to energy storage projects if the EMS vendor on the project can do more than 100 push-ups unbroken. So we're working to deliver even more value to your projects. Welcome to Coffee with Indy. Come on. Come on. Hey there, we've missed you. I've missed you. If you've been watching our videos, you might have noticed we've been skipping coffee chats lately. We've been busy building projects with the industry-leading Indy EMS. I'm super glad to be back and having a coffee and a chat with you. If you're new, welcome. Coffee with Indy is just a coffee break amongst friends where we talk about a topic of interest to the energy storage industry over a delicious cup of joe. Our topic for today, the recent Inflation Reduction Act that was signed into law on August 16th. This act targets $737 billion of additional tax revenue over a 10-year period and also targets spending a large portion of those new tax dollars on clean energy measures with the goal of reducing U.S. emissions by 40% compared to 2005 levels by 2030. When it comes to the spending on clean energy, there are several different areas targeted for these dollars. Today we'll focus on just those most relevant to the storage industry. So in that spirit, let's break this thing down. Relating to energy storage, there are a few key items to be aware of. First, the bill restores both the current PTC and ITC to their original levels that were in effect before their respective phase-out periods started. For those unfamiliar with these terms, PTC stands for Production Tax Credit and was a tax credit of approximately 1 to 2 cents for every kilowatt hour of electricity generated from qualified assets, particularly wind generation. ITC stands for Investment Tax Credit and is a tax credit given primarily to solar projects, and it offered a 30% tax credit on the upfront cost of constructing a new solar PV system. It has also been renewed with this Inflation Reduction Act, in addition to a big change, the fact that standalone energy storage projects are now eligible for this ITC. Previously, energy storage projects were only eligible if coupled with a qualifying solar PV plant. In addition to this renewal of the PTC and ITC, there was also a pretty huge change to the qualification criteria. Qualification is now governed by a two-tier system that breaks the tax credits into a base credit and an additional bonus credit that is available only if certain wage requirements are met on a project. The big kicker on this is that the base portion is 20% of the overall tax credit, with this bonus portion being 80% or the lion's share. This introduces a new set of projects risks, which we'll come back to in a minute. Also with the ITC, the other item to note is there are some additionally defined additive tax credits for projects meeting two additional criteria. One is referred to as the domestic content adder that offers an extra 10% tax credit for projects using equipment made in the good old US of A. The second is an additional 10% tax credit for projects constructed in areas defined as low-income communities. This equates to a maximum tax credit of 30% plus the 10% for domestic content plus the 10% for construction in a low-income area for a total of up to 50% of project cost back in tax credits.
Wow, look at this. You know what this means?
The last big one worth mentioning is that the Investment Reduction Act provides some additional ways that project developers can monetize these tax credits. For most renewable project entities do not have adequate tax liability to realize all these tax credits as they're not refundable, and therefore there are often tax equity investors that invest in these projects in order to realize the available tax credits. Two of these new methods worth mentioning are, first, a direct pay option which essentially makes the tax credits refundable, but it's only available to certain categories of taxpayers, primarily nonprofit entities. The next is a provision allowing the sale of these tax credits to a third party. So,
whoop-de-doo! What does it all mean, Basil?
well, International Man of Mystery Austin Powers, I'm glad you asked. A few key takeaways. First, any way you slice this means accelerated growth for the energy storage industry. It will definitely lead to an increase in energy storage projects. Therefore, all of the energy storage vendors are like, you know you've seen it on LinkedIn. Second, we think most project developers and asset owners are happy about these new tax credits. The levels offered are a game changer on the overall project economics for energy storage. There are some more shrewd developers out there that are a little concerned on oversaturation and projects being built in places that they probably shouldn't, which is valid. Third, on assessment on how these tax credits are implemented. This new two-tiered structure puts a lot of emphasis on across-the-board compliance with these wage requirements. It also creates compliance risk and will almost assuredly lead to extra contracting work, indemnification clauses, and perhaps guarantee mechanisms to address these compliance risks that could result in reduced or lost tax credits. More contracting worries. Fourth, the domestic content adder is cool, but some additional guidance is needed on the specifics of it. ESS project budgets are a lot driven by battery costs, so this should provide a further boost to US manufacturing of batteries plus other equipment. Fifth, and finally, these additional monetization options should be at least a little helpful. Some developers have struggled in recent times with securing timely tax equity investments for their projects. These new provisions should increase the pool of willing investors in renewable energy projects. One issue though, these new provisions do not provide any new mechanisms to realize depreciation of the associated energy storage projects, and therefore it might not mean such a drastic change from the typical tax equity investor arrangement that's prevalent today. So, in summary, will the Inflation Reduction Act actually do anything to rein in inflation? Simple math says, not a darn thing. However, I'm forever the optimist and do believe we can work to make good use of these tax credits and use them to build a better, cleaner energy infrastructure in the US. We at Indie Energy take our role in this very seriously. Whether it's supporting IRA wage and domestic content requirements with our American-made Indie EMS, or just supporting beautiful project execution to make energy projects sing, or doing more than 100 push-ups unbroken, we stand ready. I still didn't find that 100 push-up provision, but there are a lot of pages in this bill, so stay tuned. All right, with that, it's that time. Let's finish our coffees, put our mugs down, and let's get back to it. Remember, my friends, today is the day, the time is now, so let's get back to work.